Hey everyone, welcome back to the Stoic Social Club for episode Lucky 13. This is the very first of the Stoic Showcase series where I'll be featuring notable figures in our area that have overcome great adversity in their life and they have come out the other side successful, stronger, and willing to share their stories to inspire others. And after meeting our first guest a couple months ago, I knew that she had to be our first guest for this channel, as she embodies the Stoic idea of turning obstacles into opportunities. So buckle up. She's got a great resume. Here we go. C Bunny.
Hey,
Growing up with a passion for dancing, C Bunny earned the opportunity to audition for and perform with Grammy Award-winning artist T-Pain. She auditioned her heart out in front of Paula Abdul on the show Live to Dance, which was viewed by millions worldwide. C Bunny is a fierce and talented professional wrestler who had a strong, supportive fan base who loved to watch her wrestle grown men in the ring. She was the star of a short film titled Being C Bunny, which won multiple awards, including the Jury Award for the Most Inspirational Film at the Boynton Beach Short Film Festival in 2019, as well as the award for the Best Documentary Short at the 2019 Chain NYC Film Festival. She is currently a popular and incredibly talented DJ in high demand in the New Jersey and tri-state area. She has 2 original tracks on Spotify called Feel It and Forever. Now, hearing this kind of resume is extremely impressive for anyone her age. Let's shift perspective though. All of these accomplishments were achieved while living a life being hard of hearing. From childhood until now, life has stacked the odds against her. But like a true Stoic, she met every challenge head on with a smile and a moonwalk to go with it. Ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're watching this video, put your video down, put your hands together, make some noise for Christina C. Bunny Sarney. All right, first off, I appreciate you being here, for giving me the opportunity to sit down with you and getting to know you. It's an honor to have you as our very first guest on the Stoic Showcase series. I'd like to walk the audience through your life, starting at childhood all the way till now. So if you don't mind, do you mind bringing us back to your first memories of as being a child and realizing you were hard of hearing and that you were living life differently than your peers?
Yeah, so I was born hard of hearing, and my parents didn't find out until I think I was like 3 or 4. Back then, they didn't have the technology in the hospital to tell if you had a hearing loss right away. I also have a twin sister, so they started to notice that I, was not picking up on things. I wasn't listening. You started to see a comparison of there's something different, and then obviously I got diagnosed with the hearing loss, which was a lot to take. But one of my first memories of being a child that I remember is dancing on my kitchen table with a propane microphone, and I used to watch Michael Jackson like every day. I would watch Billie Jean and I would watch Thriller, but except for the part with the werewolf, I would always like run out and run back in. And I just always loved music and performing, but it's funny, like you just hear me mumbling the words because I never understood what they said. And it was a tough childhood. I really thought I was fine. Like I was hanging out with everybody, my family, school and stuff. But then the kids started to say, "Why do you sound like that?" And I was like, "Sound like what?" And that's when I started to see like, "Oh, I'm different." Like they're like, "Yeah, we could tell that you have a disability by your voice," and that kind of broke the illusion to me. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna be different from here on out. But that was just one of my first memories as a child. And growing up, going to school, it was very difficult. The background noise, people didn't have any patience. They were always said, the words I hate the most was, "Never mind, I'll tell you later." It just made me feel so unimportant. And I was always seen as like the outcast of the hearing impaired girl. And one day, my mom saw that Miss America was a deaf woman. They were like Heather Whitestone, and she was a dancer. And they said like, oh, like if you're completely deaf, like how are you able to dance? And they said she feels the beat. And my mom had this great idea to be like, why don't we get you into drum lessons? And I had one-on-one drum lessons, and I just had a knack for it. And when I got to perform the drum at like my recital at school, it was the first time people saw me as something other than the human impaired girl. And that's why I got hooked with performing.
That's where it hit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, with your family, I know you have a supportive family.
Yeah.
When you were a child and, you know, your family figured out that you were hard of hearing, that you were going to have a different life
Yeah.
than your siblings, how did your siblings adjust to this, you know?
I'm growing up with my family. I am grateful that my siblings treat me exactly the same as everybody else, which is important. And it is hard for parents to see me go through things and come home and being like, they're making fun of my voice, or even teachers did a lot of struggle for me. But my parents have a great balance of like playing with me, but also giving me tough love at the same time, because this world is not made for people with disabilities. And I tell people this, but they take it for granted. One of the hardest things my mom ever like did for me was she dropped me off. I think I was early teen. She dropped me off in front of a pizzeria and said, "Go inside by yourself and order." Like it forced you to be independent.
Get out of your
and whatnot.
comfort zone.
So yeah, and there were times with my mental health that it was really hard, and I just like hated who I was, because I was getting made fun of so much. And like my dad is a big fan of Rocky, so he just picked me up. Come on, get up, get up.
Yeah.
And that's what I always like to share. The irony is like I didn't hear no bell. Like no, like we're gonna keep on going. So I do have a very supportive family, and I'm always grateful for that. And sometimes I feel bad when I say like I had a really bad childhood. It had nothing to do with my family. It had to do with going to school and other people. Again, I didn't think there was anything wrong with me until other people started to like point it out to me and make me feel different than them.
Yeah, I appreciate that. When I first met you, I thought of my older son right away, because my oldest son is level 3 autism. He's nonverbal. And I'm a person that thinks ahead in life a lot of the time. I think about the future, and I fear for him in those years of dealing with bullying and people being cruel with not understanding or being able to put themselves in another person's shoes. Now, when it comes to the bullying, what age do you think you started dealing with it the worst? What age group do you think kids really started were the meanest to you?
They started going to talk to you in my 30s online, social media.
Yeah.
I have through Instagram, YouTube, a little bit, but TikTok, I get bullied relentlessly. I have people making videos, mocking my voice, mocking my lifestyle. There's like troll pages. I have people giving me death threats, threatening to call my job. Like I have been through the most bullying, like today online, and it never ends. Every day I get some kind of comment. People calling me Helen Keller or Water. And that's the sad part, because social media can be a very powerful tool, obviously, to share a story, but at the same time, it can get people comfortable being behind a screen and think they can say whatever you want about you and go on with your day, but understand, like, you just went online to make fun of my voice. Why? I have people making fun of my career, DJ, and everything. So that was hard. That's hard to take. But also going through school, being bullied, you don't want to be different, and you don't want to be outcasted. So, and then you have to face those people every day. So, it's a different type of hard. But today is the worst that I've ever been through, the actual bullying, and it's sad because we're adults.
Yeah, that's horrible. And I think that's an important aspect to mention, though, even beyond just, you being an older person and, it's people your age being mean to you. The online aspect is a thing for kids now, because, maybe kids don't have the guts to be mean to a kid in school. They could destroy these kids online.
I'm so grateful that it wasn't around when I was younger, because I don't know. I really can't give you the honest answer, but how I'd be today if all that was showcased. I mean, we just had like AOL Instant Messenger.
Yeah.
Even like the controversy of MySpace.
You've got mail.
Yeah. With that, but it's hard, and it's hard when you already have a disability. And I always tell people that just because I have a disability, my life is not harder than yours. I do believe every single person has something that it feels like a disability that it adds them an extra weight to go through their day. But my thing is like, you're making fun of me for something that I can't control.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you're gonna disagree with me and not like me, then don't like my character, what I said, or this and that. But if you're gonna go right for what I can't control and make fun of me, and then also even social, when you're gonna make fun of my career, I did all that with disabilities. It's hard to go to classes and not hear everything they have to say. You have to do twice the work as everybody else. You know, we don't get the fair treatment. Like, I had to go through a lot of adversities just to do what everybody else would like to do. And I wish people would understand that. Like, your words can have consequences to how they make other people feel. But it takes a long time to understand that it's a reflection on them and not you. But still, as a person, it's just not fun having to deal with other people's thoughts. So again, what would have my life been like if I grew up not having anybody say, hey, I could tell you're hard of hearing because of your voice, hey, you talk funny. Like, I think we all be in a better place.
Yeah, and I think you just answered my next question. Was, you know, a lot of the people that would be watching this will probably be parents of children, you know, who are worried about their children dealing with bullying in life. And I see on your social media a lot, you will post when people talk badly about you or make fun of you.
You're gonna put it out there.
And I think that's such a great way to handle it. You know, I was gonna ask you, what do you think you should tell parents or kids that are, you know, going into a situation where they know they're being bullied or they're being bullied actively now, or their children are being bullied?
Yeah, listen,
what's the best way to handle it? Is facing it?
And then it's not so much of a black and white answer. Listen, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And that's the sad part. I mean, everybody goes through difficulties, but especially the disability community, we are absolutely going to be bullied or isolated. And it's just one of those things. That's why I think it's really important to find your outlet. Like, that's why I'm so glad, again, for performing, that I'm able to perform and show people that I'm more than just the hearing impaired girl, or I can take something that is a disability and turn it into art. So I always tell people, definitely get the outlet. And when it comes to parents, listen, give them the balance, and it's hard, but you have to build up to be strong soldiers. Give us the balance of all your love and all your prayers, but don't be afraid to build up some tough skin. Again, like, we didn't hear no bell. Like, if we get knocked out, boom, we gotta come back. And I always tell people this, like, I do hit rock bottom hard, but when I come back, you better be scared. I always tell people, every time I come back, I'm like, you better be scared, because you get a new motivation.
Yeah.
But just keep at it. Don't let them give up. And when you start to realize, again, it's a reflection on them, that helps. But and there's maybe unpopular opinion. I think sometimes it's okay to talk back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because people like to think people with disabilities, we are always meant to be these precious, nice people. Because when I start to speak, to kind of clap back to them, they're like, oh, you're a bully. I'm like, why? Am I supposed to be this precious, person? No, you can't say something mean to me.
Yeah.
And not expect a response back. Granted, you need to be classy about it, but just keep pushing through. And just like the rest of your kids, you're setting them up to live in the world without you. And I think that's the toughest part. I'm not a parent, but I just know that's the toughest part about being a parent. You're raising them to be in the world without you.
100%. 100%. That was an excellent answer. I appreciate that. All right, let's get into your resume, your background, your interests that, you've thrived into now. How did you get introduced into the world of entertainment and performance as a kid? When did you first figure out that that's something you maybe want to do in your life?
So obviously, as a kid, people would always ask me, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I respond, I want to be a rock star. I've always resonated with watching Michael Jackson, Elvis, even professional wrestlers. was always amazing to see that like one person can command the attention of the room. And what's also great, like especially with like Michael Jackson, why I resonated with him is that off stage he's so shy and introverted. But like as soon as he's on stage, he was like a whole different person. So that's where like I created like Steve Bunny. I'm like, oh, that's my alter ego.
Yeah.
And it became a match for me to like have the confidence to do what Christina couldn't. So playing the drums, I love the euphoric high from it. Unfortunately, in high school, I got really bullied in the marching band, and I quit, and I still play drums on the side, but I just never felt comfortable enough to be around other people. Then I had my first job. At my first job, I was a costume character at Six Flags Greater America.
That was in my notes.
But that was my first aspect
That's
of
awesome.
doing shows and performing. I'm
I
like,
remember
yo,
that stage at Six Flags.
Yeah, and I loved it. And people would ask me, do you take dance lessons? I'm like, no. But I had a natural knack for dancing. So what I learned from playing the drums was learning how to feel the beat. And I do hear the music and stuff, but it's really more about clarity, and there's a lot of interference. But I learned to rely on feeling the beat and feeling the count. So then when I got into dance lessons and everything, and that's why I love hip hop, everything is boom, boom, boom. Everything in my life created a foundation for the next. So I just didn't know like where I went on a lot of roads to figure out performance-wise what will work for me. And it is a cutthroat industry, and you have to have thick skin, and rejection becomes a hobby. So, but I remember telling my parents like, I really love dancing, and dancing is what feelings look like. And again, the biggest aspect about performing I do love, it's all nonverbal.
Yeah.
I don't have to hear you or talk to you.
Yep.
You're gonna know what I'm saying with just my body.
Yeah.
So they were very supportive of it, but they obviously said you need to have a backup plan or you need to have a side career. So that's why I got into being a massage therapist and personal trainer and this. But I was still going to New York and auditioning. I was still taking dance classes. And that's how, like, 10 years of auditioning, I finally landed a audition with T-Pain.
Yeah, that was my next step. Yeah, if you could walk us through that.
Yeah.
And just a note, I grew up doing theater, and I know how intimidating auditions can be. So, it's amazing, how the process that you put yourself through to build your resume up and to finally make it to audition for T-Pain,
Yes.
who for a lot of us is very nostalgic. You think of T-Pain, you think of your childhood, better times.
Yes.
So yeah, let's hear that story.
His music still hits today. I love it. So I landed. So T-Pain wanted he wanted to have like backup dancers for his new tour, but he wanted to use like real dancers. He didn't want to go through an agency. So there was, I think the website was called dancejam.com. It was like the TikTok dancers back then, but everybody just submitted their freestyle. He had a contest to make your freestyle, which is just improv. And I submitted to that, and he ended up picking like 20 dancers from that contest, and he flew us down to Miami. And this was not nerve-wracking. We didn't have FaceTime or anything like that. So I was like, I'm going on a plane and not sure what this is real. They picked me up, and they brought us to this really cool like garage, and then T-Pain walked in. I'm like, oh my God, this is insane. And we had a freestyle and danced for the whole day, and there was other stuff part of the audition process. Seeing how we hang with him socially and everything. First time I met him, I bought him like 2 shots, and I said, "Hey T-Pain, I buy you a drink." I'm like, this is what I'm doing. First time I meet him.
It took me a second.
But I just want to show him my gratitude. I know you're taking us out of here, but thank you. When we went in to audition the next day, they said, okay, you can't use any of the moves that you did the day before. And we're like, and to me, this is difficult because they were going to have us go one by one to music that we never heard of before because he made it. And it's like, he has like hundreds of songs involved. To me, this is difficult because as a T-Pain woman, how do I hear a song I never heard before?
Yeah.
And how do I, now what I do? And also, it was in a garage, so the sounds were bouncing off the wall. And I remember just being like, praying to God, and I'm like, all right, like, I'm gonna dance in the glory of you. And T-Pain said to us before we danced, he said, I want you guys to step outside the box and create your own box and show me who you were. And I never realized that was going to be a very impactful thing that he said to me. Show me who you are, step outside the box. So he started to play the song. I'm by myself, and again, I really had no idea because it sounded bouncing all over the place, and I just felt it in me to take out my hearing aids, and I go up to him, and I put it down before him, and I start to get the chill. There's a big speaker. I gotta listen for it, and I start to go back to my spot, but I was like, no, I don't got it yet, and I got the count, and I went in the center of the dance floor and I just started freestyling, and somehow, and I'm sure for this, every move just clicked. And in the corner of my eye, really just a beautiful moment. Everybody got up on their feet and they were like chanting, because they finally felt like, I'm showing you who I am. I don't need to hear the music to show you that I love it. And this is what I'm doing for you.
It's an amazing video.
And and then we were in the line, and he called up they're only picking 2 female dancers. He picked the 2 female dancers. To me, I'm like, you know what? I just did a very amazing freestyle for God, and this is great. And then all of a sudden, he said, yo, T-Bunny, get up here. And he made a spot just for me. Wow. And it was that, like, that thing you did moment when we got outside, like, you had to be like good, but when we got outside, we're all running like, oh my God! it was that moment every performer wanted. Like, I got the part. Yeah. And I got to do a music video for him. I spent time in Atlanta. I got to go to his house. We did a couple of shows in like California here. And again, you understand this in the entertainment business, things could change. Yeah. I definitely had, like, I was supposed to go on tour with him with the Black Eyed Peas, and they had to cut half of us because we went from doing a full show to being an opener, so they had to. So that's like less time, less people, but it's the music business, it changed. But I was so grateful to have that. To put on my resume, again, to show people, regardless of your disability, like, you can be a rock star, you can do this and that. And I was very blessed that I got to work with him, and I'm still so happy that he's still killing the game today. Yeah. And I always tell him, like, he's one of the hardest working men in the business, and I'll forever give him my gratitude that he gave some, hearing impaired girl from Jersey a chance.
It's amazing that moment was captured on camera too, because I mean, you threw your hearing aids right in front of him. You put your ear to it. It was amazing.
I'm very blessed to have that on camera.
That was awesome.
The guy that filmed it, he
didn't realize what he was capturing, and he didn't realize what he was going to get in that moment.
Not at all. And you see the look in the judges, like, and I'm just blessed to have that. Because again, regardless of your disability, you could do what you want. You've got to find a way to do it.
And that's one of those moments you could look back on and get power from it. You could look back on it and say, wow, I was able to do that. When you're feeling down, you can look back. Those are important accomplishments.
Yeah.
Now, another nostalgic name would be Paula Abdul, right? So you auditioned for her on Live to Dance in front of millions of people that were watching on TV. How was that experience?
That was great. So, like I said, everything, and I want people to understand, like, every step back is a setup for a comeback. I know it's a cliche, but, like, I was very sad if I'm not continuing the tour with T-Pain. Yeah. But because I was home, that audition, I was available to go to that audition.
Everything lines up. Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay. So I waited online for, like, a couple of hours. There was like thousands of people on the street, cold, something like that. And then in these type of auditions for reality dance competition, when you see them dancing in front of the judges, that's not the first audition. I had to do like 4 or 5 callbacks just to get to the Paula Abdul stage. So that in itself was still like a big reward to me, because I saw how many people I surpassed. And I've done these auditions before where like I didn't even make it to the judges. So I was so happy for that. And when I heard, not only was it Paula Abdul, but it was Travis Payne, Michael
Yeah.
Jackson choreographer, and Michael Jackson just passed. So but I still was like, oh my God, this is the guy that worked with him.
Yeah.
Again, if it's another tricky situation with my hearing impairment, it was in like a dome at Liberty State Park.
Okay.
So I got to see the Statue of Liberty, but again, the sounds are bouncing all over the place. So I'm having to do again, and this is really tough for me. It's like I love dancing and performing so much, but like, you know, sometimes it'd be nice if I can not struggle to hear the music and everything.
Yeah.
So that's why I have to just use my passion and everything. But I started dancing, and it was unreal. And then afterwards, Paul Abdul said, like, how did you feel you did? And they did cut this part out. So obviously on TV, they have to cut. But I said I struggled a little bit with the music. And she said, and it meant so much to me because people don't realize it too. She said, listen, Steve Bunny, it is your right as a person with a disability just to say, hey, stop. I can't hear the music. And I was like, I'm always taught, like, no, like, suck it up and you gotta be professional. Because and that's tough for me being hard of hearing. I don't want people to think that I'm not qualified or less or anything. Like, no, like, just give me the tools and I'll absolutely do the job. But it was so impactful for me because a lot of people say I use my hearing impairment as an excuse. And that hurt me a lot. I'm like, no, maybe sometimes it's just the reason that I can't do things and whatnot. But for her to say that was very impactful for me. I ended up getting 1 star. You needed 2 stars to go to Las Vegas.
Okay.
Which was still hard, but again, I still had the opportunity to do that. And I got a star from Paula Abdul, who's in the Hall of Fame. Like, amazing. And I said I love you to everybody. I got like the standing ovation. It was so amazing. And then I saw my Michael Jackson hat, and that I threw on the floor. Because also I got to do the Billie Jean Michael Jackson thrust, and which was like, again, I'm like, oh my God, I'm doing the Michael Jackson in front of 10 million people. And I remember I picked up my hat at the end, and I did the Michael Jackson, and me and Travis Payne are looking right at each other, and we're doing the Michael Jackson thing. And it's just like, again, this is my inspiration. That, like, think about it. I was inspired by Michael Jackson to dance. Now,
you're in
fast
that
forward,
moment.
I'm doing the Michael Jackson move. I'm connecting with the choreographer. I have this amazing woman, Paula Abdul, just like putting me over. And it was such it was a magical moment showing that through dance, I'm showing you who I am. And to have that story shared on me on, you know, national television in front of 10 million people, and also important being showcased as a hard of hearing woman, not deaf woman, because there is a difference. And when you're hard of hearing, you have 1 foot in the deaf world and 1 foot in the hearing world. So that's why I struggle sometimes. People, when they try to sign to me and everything, like, I had to adapt to you guys. I really lift because you guys don't know sign language. So, but then there was something like stuff about deaf people. I'm like, but I'm not deaf. So that's why I never feel like I fit anywhere. But it was very important that I got to share my story with the world, and I got to go to school. And now it's great because now I got to show that footage too and say, hey, guess what? Regardless of your disability, you can do anything. You can be a rock star. We can have fun. So I'm absolutely blessed for that. And believe it or not, the bullies on TikTok make fun of me for that. I'm like,
you know, I wrote something down while I was watching your documentary, and what you just said made me think of it. You know, it was something that your father said, right? And I wrote down the exact quote here. He goes, "I can't be thankful enough for the woman that she has become. She has done that largely on her own. She asks for nothing, which is amazing because she needs everything, but she asks for nothing, right?" And, you know, it's, you know, you seem like the type of person that's very hard on yourself, you know, and you push yourself to not let your disability hold you back at all or be an excuse for you at all. But I thought I had to write that down because it's such a recognition, you know, of your spirit and your attitude. But that's why I was so inspired to sit down with you, because people need to hear this, you know, because people just make too many excuses these days for things holding them back, and there's really no excuse, right? So I really was just moved by your father's words.
Oh,
And your
yeah.
father's name is Peter, right?
Yes.
Peter, and he's a fitness trainer as well.
Yeah, personal training.
He's
Yeah.
he's in amazing shape. I remember seeing the picture. He's a very impressive man. Yeah.
He's great, very hardworking. I got to, he worked on the stock exchange, New York Stock Exchange
Really?
for 20 years. I even for a little bit got to work with him, and like working with him, I really saw, like, it was, I think I was 17, I really opened my eyes, like, oh, like, this is what I'm, like, when you really realize what your parents do for you every day,
Yeah.
it opened up what you do. And like, even me being like, I was homeschooled for a bit, like my mom is my rock. So again, I have a great balance of, like, we're gonna push you, but we're still gonna make sure that your love as well to bring you up good.
Yeah, no, I think that's important because, you know, when we're kids, you know, and we're younger people in life, we don't think of our parents, their mental health, you know, and what they go through raising us, you know, and the struggles that they must be going through. So, yeah, as we get older, you kind of think of that. You know, once you start addressing your own mental health, you start thinking of other people's mental health, and you say, oh, man, that must have been difficult for them in those times and stuff. But it's amazing that you had that support system.
No, absolutely. And I truly believe, and I know it's cliche, but I truly believe God really gives the special needs kids the parents that can handle it.
Yeah.
For sure, because I wouldn't choose any other parent to take care of me. And it's a hard, listen, it's hard.
Yeah.
You're allowed to stay, and that's the other aspect that I want people to understand. As much as we have overcome things and everything, it's hard, and sometimes part of my language is tough sometimes. But and I can only imagine, you know, being, again, I'm not a parent, but I can only imagine how hard it is for them to watch me come home and be like, oh, I got bullied, or this and that. Oh, you know, even like when I get discriminated against as an adult in workplaces and stuff, it's hard because they know my heart, and they know that I work hard, and they don't want me to have to deal with all this unnecessary adversity. And as a parent, you always want to, like, you want to protect them. And I know sometimes for my sake, they hold certain things back from me just to keep me pushing forward. I mean, I'm sure it's easy for any parent to, like, just want to coddle and hold it. No, like,
Definitely.
It's about, so I have a special gratitude for all parents of special needs, because it's one of the most toughest jobs to have, but it's the most rewarding.
Yeah. No, you're
That's
100% right about that. No, of course. That was excellent.
Yeah, that's it.
So you have a sister, Lori, who was in that documentary, correct? Lori? Now, she mentioned something. She seems like she was a tough sister. Now, she said something, you know, and you mentioned it before as well, how you know, having your own interests and discovering yourself is so important, but to not hide behind, you know, you created Sea Bunny for yourself as a kid. And you hid behind that parts of your life, like a lot of us do. You know, I hid behind alcohol for a lot of my life, and the person that alcohol made me. I performed as that character for a long time, right? But eventually, now at this point in your life, Sea Bunny saves you. Sea Bunny, you know, keeps you going. But your sister Lori said something in the documentary that she reminds you to work on Christina every day. And I think that's very important because, you know, for myself, when we were speaking earlier about recovery, and when you're going through recovery, you're dealing with mental health, you know, you find these interests and you dive into it. And sometimes it becomes your whole life and it becomes your identity, but you stop working on yourself. So when life gets hard, you kind of still crumble. So, you know, I thought it was important that she does give you that advice. You know, make sure you work on Christina every day. And it seems like you do work on Christina.
It's been a long road, for sure. I've learned now, because listen, when you're on Sea Bunny, it's like, you're the fun one, and this and that, and you don't care, and unstoppable. But Christina is the person that they make fun of their voice, and their disability, and their look, and, you know, I do have a lot of trauma. You know, that I dealt with me. Like, imagine, and I shared this before, Okay, but imagine going to school. Like when I was 5 years old in school, I got molested by teachers. So imagine your safe space in school and having to continue to go to school for the next 20 years, but that being your trauma bond. Like there's a lot of unnecessary trauma that I had to deal with because of my disability. So that's why I hated Christina. She's the one that go through all the pain and stuff, but C-Bunny, the performer, get the fun life. But I have learned to love who she is. I'm still working on my voice because, again, I don't like it when people bring it up. The other day, never met this guy in my life. He had a dog, and I said, "Oh, can I pet your dog?" Never met him. He said, "Hey, do you speak sign language?" I'm like, "What the heck?" So it's just I just want to be, because I just want people to see me as me.
Yeah.
So that's why I just don't, so I still struggle with my voice and stuff, but I've learned to understand again, there's just certain words that I don't say right, but it's not the entirety of it. But I really came a long way to love who I am, but also, not everybody gets access to Christina.
Yeah.
Because she is very, I give you all my love. I really care about my friends. I'm like the ultimate hype girl for everybody.
Yeah.
So I learned to love her, but I still have a close access of who gets Christina, and everybody else gets the C-Bunny.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry to hear about some of those traumas in your past, but it's really inspiring that you're able to speak about that, because unfortunately, that is something a lot of people in our community have traumas in their childhood with. And it's important to be open and share that, because it allows other people to address.
Yeah, for sure. It's just another aspect, again, the disability community it's very targeted.
Yeah.
For weak and whatnot. But again, that's where it's just, I never want to go back to school ever.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Never been, even by teachers and students, it's just hard. I do speak to college classes sometimes for teachers that are trying to get into the special needs field. And I tell them all the stuff that happened to me, all the bad stuff, and I let them know, there are people in your field that make it worse for us. And if you are a teacher that are working with special needs, remember, you're avoided in our school. So don't mess that up, please. If really, you don't understand how alone we are, but you're our avoided in school. And that, thank God for my mom. As soon as my mom heard about anything that went down, my IEP being violated, I'm sure you understand all this. Yeah. My mom was the first to go in and be my voice for me.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's such an important point that you just made. Yeah. Because, my son goes to a special needs school, and the teachers that work in that environment are absolute heroes. But yeah, it does need to be monitored, because, they are the voices for the voiceless. Yeah. And as much as that's important, it's a very sensitive community and vulnerable community. Yeah. So it does need to be protected. So let's take a quick water break, and we'll finish up. All right? Perfect. All right, guys. We come to the end of the interview. I really appreciate everyone for watching this amazing Stoic showcase this week with my friend, DJ C-Bunny. If you wouldn't mind, take a minute, plug your platforms, let people know where they can find you, where you DJ at every week. Let them know. Take your time.
So they can follow me on Instagram, DJ C-Bunny. I definitely produce music, as you mentioned. So you guys can follow me on my SoundCloud, DJ C-Bunny, and on Spotify, C-Bunny. So I would love for you guys to check out my music and art. And I have a residency at the Shore House in Point Pleasant every Thursday. Nice. And I'm all over in Red Bank, Seaside, Point Pleasant, Brick. So if you definitely follow me on my social media, you'll see all the posting, and even my YouTube, C-Bunny.
Awesome.
TikTok, C-Bunny. So I've been putting my C-Bunny across all platforms. I definitely follow me, and feel free to, if they have any, I'm always down to have conversations. If they have any questions, anything, I always love to talk to new people.
Definitely, yeah. Please make sure you subscribe and follow C-Bunny everywhere. She is awesome at have a conversation with. So if you have any questions or anything, reach out to her. But please Don't be mean to C Bunny because I will find out. I do have to admit, every one of these Stoic Showcase interviews, I'm going to be giving a guest some of my merch for my clothing line.
Yeah, I'm down for the merch.
And I have to admit, I rushed out of the house and I forgot your bag. So I'm going to be stopping by probably Shore House or one of your residencies. I'll make a little video walking in and giving you your bag. So I apologize for that.
No worries.
So if you see future interviews and you're like, I didn't get anything, no, I'm going to make a video to prove you got your merch.
Good. I'll give you your song request. I'll give you the request.
Something I want to do to end every episode, I'm going to ask every guest to send us a message of wisdom for the world. If you could tell the whole world right now a word of wisdom right now, what would it be? No pressure.
No, it's okay. Well, again, listen, regardless of your differences or your disability in life, don't let that stop you. You have every right to be happy. You have every right to live out your dream. You know, we only have one life on this earth. And me being a kid, I always daydreamed about all the things that I would love to do. You know, and being on the cover of the newspaper, being on TV, doing music. You know, I'm blessed to know that all the things I do, that when I'm no longer on this earth anymore, people will be able to listen to my music and feel me through that. But just understand, you are important. Your feelings are valid just like everybody else. But you got to do the work as well. So, but I promise you, all that work is gonna be rewarded. Just remember that you deserve it. You deserve to be you. And I can do all things through Christ. Remember that. And that's a phrase that always stuck with me. I can do all things through Christ. You don't have to do this alone.
That was amazing. You set the bar high. I don't think anyone's going to be able to top that for a long time.
But thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. This was absolutely amazing. I'd like to say thank you to the Asbury Hotel also for hosting us. They let us use our their private sound booth lounge, which was perfect. They had the records behind us. It was
very DJ.
Yeah, it was perfect for a DJ interview. So thank you to the directors of marketing and management at the Asbury Hotel for allowing us to use this beautiful space. This was amazing. So yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in this week for our first Stoic Showcase series. This next week, we won't have an episode. I have some family stuff going on, but stay tuned. I'll still be making posts throughout the week. So I'd like to wish everyone a successful and peaceful week ahead. And I am excited to see everyone next time right here at the Stoic Social Club. All right. Perfect.
Oh my God. That's awesome.